Hi everyone, I'm Win. I've been meaning to make a YouTube video for quite some time now, so here we are today. I'll be filling a page in my sketchbook with a piece I'm naming The Literary Goat. Get it? Because it's reading a book. I do apologise for the awkward camera angle in a few of these clips. I'm aware my hand obscures the drawing, but if you stick around you can see I attempt a more bird's eye view like setup, and there is a time lapse of me inking the sketch where the drawing is far more visible. So I hope you enjoy the creative process. So as you can see, I'm just going through with an ordinary HB pencil. You know, it's nothing fancy, it's nothing expensive. I think I bought it at a local grocery store or something. And I'm just refining certain lines and shapes in my sketch, as well as erasing some guidelines I constructed with the back of the pencil. I try not to do this because it wears down the eraser, and sometimes if you use it while the eraser is really flat, you run the risk of having little metallic marks or smudges or scratches in your paper, which has happened to me before, and it's very unpleasant. But what is cool about using the eraser on the back of the pencil is how fine it is. You don't have to cut or chop a large eraser to get smaller pieces, but you know, it's yeah, it's just a normal pencil, it's nothing crazy. Although I do enjoy watching other people use really high-end art supplies or very interesting art supplies like glass dip pens. They're very cool. But yes, refining the sketch. I enjoy having very neat sketches, and typically if I'm drawing people, I like to lightly mark in where I will later fill in my shadows, or you know, if I'm doing hair, then I might lightly shade where I want my shadows to fall, so I give myself just a bit of a stronger guideline as I'm going. But for this particular drawing, I don't necessarily mark in any shadows because the majority of the subject is in the light and its body is going to be covered in fur. And to convey that texture, I'm going to go in with a micron with my ink, and I'll be making all the fine little individual lines to convey that soft, or not necessarily soft, maybe just like a fur sort of texture. Yeah, I feel like sketching in or marking in those shadows would be unnecessary. By now it is late January 2023. For most, this is generally a month of reflection and new beginnings, and I definitely fall into that majority. 2022 was an eventful year for me for a variety of reasons, both good and bad. I now find myself in a transformative or transitional period in my life where I'm closing a chapter, or I have closed quite a few chapters of my life, and I'm now moving into new ones. And this is very exciting. There's obviously a bit of anxiety and uncertainty that'll come with something of this nature, but I think that is just a universal experience. I do enjoy this time of year. I think my favorite holiday is probably New Year's Day. I enjoy the energy that everyone brings, everyone has, you know. Not everyone may enjoy or celebrate Christmas or not everyone may like particular holidays throughout the year, but I think everyone gets excited or at least looks forward to a New Year's party. So, I don't know, it's just a lovely time of year, I think. And you can always see and sense around you when people do have a bit of a spike in motivation, you know. They might be talking more openly about their ambitions, or they may be pursuing or trying new things just because they're in that energy of new beginnings. But I also think that there is a bit of, maybe placebo is not the word, but in reality, you could start a new beginning for yourself whenever you take that initiative. You don't have to wait until January 1st to do something you've been meaning to. And I think not everyone realizes this. In terms of art, I have a lot of future projects that I've been working on in the background and quietly chipping away at, which I will be very excited to announce and, you know, market when the time is right. But of course, I've been busy and it's definitely not in a form where I can present it at all. But I have a lot of creative projects that I wish to undertake this year, and that I wish to at least complete a few, you know. Art does take some time, but I think being efficient and having the ability to do things quickly is also a very, very valuable skill, and that's a skill I am practicing. And yeah, I think it's just difficult when you're constantly doing something. I feel it may not be applicable in all fields and all industries, but I think definitely in creative industries and fields there is definitely, you know, you fall susceptible to burnout at certain periods. I know I did in the past, and I'm a lot better at preventing that sort of thing and dealing with that sort of thing now. But art block is definitely unpleasant, and so is writer's block. I don't enjoy either of those things very much. But for the most part, I feel quite satisfied with what I have created so far in the year. I will be uploading some other YouTube videos from things that I have created throughout the month of January, and I intend on creating a video series called the Art Diaries. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, then maybe consider subscribing. I know it's annoying to promote things like that, but it really does help. The inspiration for this drawing came from my drawing ideas Pinterest board that I have. I had saved a pin of a taxidermy goat sitting in a rocking chair reading a book in someone's bedroom, and I was quite intrigued. Taxidermy doesn't necessarily freak me out. I grew up with taxidermy in my house when I was a child, so make of that what you will. So I was very intrigued and sort of amused when I saw this goat in the chair. The artist, the prop maker who made the goat, I believe his name is Jeremy, and he goes by Meddling in Nature, I think. That's what I read anyway, so if you want to check that out, please do. Maybe there's some more interesting, you know, quirky little things. Maybe there's like, I don't know, a bird playing a crossword or something. But I was going to say the sketching process. Yeah, I drew this little goat and it was very nice. I think, you know, I don't really intend to do much with this piece. It's just something simple to fill a page in my sketchbook. The sketching part of the process is definitely my favorite. I really find it very satisfying how, you know, just a scarce use of lines and form can really convey complex ideas or, a complex image. And I think having that skill to be able to make really refined sketches is very valuable for when you want to build upon that later in the process. Yeah. It would benefit me if I enjoyed shading and rendering more, particularly in digital art. Digital art is something I'm not particularly experienced in. I've got many more years of traditional art experience under my belt, and I enjoy making traditional art. There's something special about it that I hope we never lose touch with, and to be honest, I don't think we will ever lose touch with it. It would take a lot to get there, at least maybe not in my lifetime, I don't think. But yes, ink is my preferred medium, so even though sketching is my favorite, I typically tend to go back onto and into my sketches with microns or whatever ink pen I'm using. Sometimes I have experimented with like liquid ink that comes in a bottle in the past, and the result hasn't been bad. It's just, it's almost like painting with watercolor. You have a lot of options and it opens up a new door of techniques because you can do ink washes and you're not restricted to hatching or stippling or, making little scribbles. So yeah, but inking is definitely my favorite, way of shading, and it is my favorite technique, although I do not mind making pencil drawings. Not colored pencil drawings, I have not made many of those in my life, but I have seen quite a few good artists who I do admire who use colored pencils, who have inspired me to try it, but currently I don't feel a very strong desire to do so. It also feels very good to be drawing in an A4 sketchbook again. At the start of 2020, I was going through a bit of art burnout at that point. I had a very strong desire to, pursue art for the rest of my life, and that has definitely not gone away. Don't get me wrong, that's still there, but at the time I had put this pressure on myself. I felt this make or break sort of headspace. I was like, I need to improve, I need to draw, I need to hone my craft. And I do still hone my craft, and I do still practice, and I do still feel that same sense of, you don't wake up one day with the skill of someone like Da Vinci, Those skills are built up and honed over immense hours of practice. It's not a matter of talent, it's a matter of skill and the dedication it takes to build that skill. That's what I believe anyway. I think that goes for anything really, even if it's something not creative. If you want to become something, or you want to be able to do something, then you need to practice doing said thing. So, those years ago, I felt that sense of urgency that I needed to do this, and I needed to do it fast, because then by the time I would leave school, I wouldn't be where I needed to be in time. And I think I had stressed myself out too much with that mindset, and I did experience some burnout. And someone I was close to at the time suggested to me that I work in a smaller sketchbook, like an A5 sketchbook, which I did. I got an A5 sketchbook, and I found that I was filling the pages much quicker because, well, they're smaller. And this was good for a while, and for a long time I did prefer A5 sketchbooks for that very reason, but there were times where my ideas were just I wouldn't say too ambitious because it's not really the sketchbook's fault, but sometimes it was more difficult to draw what I had in mind to scale in the A5 sketchbook, and I find in the A4 sketchbook there is obviously more space and that issue isn't as bad. So yes, very happy to be drawing in A4 again.